Good morning. So, today we're going to talk about how when we become successful, we actually start to let up and we start losing our way in those moments. And kind of, what do I mean by that? Look, one of the first things I found was when I was initially getting started in the world of real estate is that I was going after everything. I was calling brokers. I was pushing myself to find any sort of deal. I was getting out there and I was asking for seller financing, getting rejected over and over and over again. And that was the grind that I had to do in the very beginning in order to start building out and to start becoming successful. But what I found was those initial wins, finding the duplexes and finding a single family home and then the mobile home park and all of those actions that started bringing these things to me, I started letting up on. Got a little bit of success. Started feeling like, "Oh, okay, I got to be a little more safe now." And that's an issue. And it's an issue because what happens is our complacency starts to allow us to go out here and not buy correctly, right? We're not buying correctly. We're no longer making those calls. We're no longer searching for those deals, and we just start making mistakes because we're no longer hungry. We think we know everything there is to know, and we just say, forget it, right? We're not going to stress about that. So my my problem with this is when we are at our most vulnerable, because at the end of the day, it's difficult to find properties. It's difficult to be successful in the world of real estate. And it's definitely difficult to find somebody that's willing to do seller financing. If we're only making one call every day or two, or one call a week, and we are still calling ourselves an investor, it's not true, right? We need to take a look in the mirror and see if we are actually doing what we believe we are doing, or if we're just kind of goofing off and saying, yeah, that's the world I play in. Because if it's one call a week, you're definitely not progressing. Okay. If you're not feeling that hunger and you go out and you buy a property and you think, well, I already know everything, I'm not going to look for that leak. I'm not going to, I can walk through and I understand everything that's happening in this house or in this apartment complex. That's when you're going to make the biggest mistakes. Because my nervousness when I was starting out forced me to look at every nook and cranny inside of every single property. I was nervous and I was scared, and I was not going to let anything get by me. Now, it didn't hold me back from pushing forward, but it certainly allowed me to find mistakes or find things that were going to be a massive issue. Right. The other thing is that we get lazy or lax with our underwriting. We think, oh, we already know it. We already know it. We're looking at it. The underwriting looks good. I know exactly what I'm doing here. Let's go forward. I know my price. If you are looking at a property and you're preparing to buy it, you should put in the time to underwrite it just like day one. Be a little nervous. When once when you find a deal that you think is a good one, sit down, take time to go through it. Quit using Excel spreadsheets and things like that to look at the deal and have it analyze it for you. Make sure you personally understand those numbers, right? Now, I can even go back to the program, that I teach, the bounce method. When we believe we know anything, and I make this mistake every day. When we believe we know everything, we automatically assume that we are running our operations correctly. We already know it all. We already know how to run our operations. We automatically assume that we have the right people in place, and sometimes we're not checking in on them because we've kind of pulled back. And maybe that's the time when you got to get in there and actually grind a little bit and see what is really happening inside of your property, right? We're not normalizing our numbers like we would have early on. We're trusting too many people. It's okay to have some trust, but you still need to be managing those people and helping them push forward, right? And at the end of the day, we cannot let our pride and us thinking that we know it all get in our way of success. We should always be learning. There's always something new, especially in the world of real estate that we don't know, right? One thing that I want to learn is land, right? I want to learn how to do some of these other transactional things that I don't currently know how to do. Every single one of us has something that we can learn to continue to grow. Because if you want to hit that top 1% or that top 0.1%, you got to always be learning. You got to always be growing. And so at the end of the day, what we don't want to do is let our success get in the way and cause us to fail. Thank you.